Since 2012, when the Northlander was cancelled, there's never really been a cohesive passenger transport strategy in the north. We were promised enhanced bus service. That never happened, and never happened because in Northern Ontario, the ONTC has to run the buses on a cost recovery basis. So they had to make changes and cuts, which reduces bus passenger service. It's a self-defeating cycle.
So how do you fix that?
So what we're committing to do is, under an NDP government, we are going to give the ONTC the power to actually create and design a service that's actually going to serve Northerners. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is to have those decisions made by Northerners. Because when the train was cancelled, that wasn't a decision made by Northerners. That was a decision made by Queen's Park for Queen's Park. And what we have to do is give the ONTC latitude and the funds to create a cohesive strategy that will include train service and will include bus service that actually serves the north.
Do you want to see any kind of advisory board put together where you were getting input from people that are outside as well?
That's one of the most important things. Like I said, you need people from the north to help make these decisions. So the ONTC's got the technical capabilities, and there are groups around, several of them, and all kinds of people, customers, both on the passenger side and the freight side, who would have really good ideas, need to be from Northern Ontario. We will put them together and come up with a strategy that's actually going to work.
Is the viability of it even a key issue? And what I mean by that is whether or not is this going to be, thriving in terms of making money. Is this just something that is almost a right to people in Northern Ontario that they should have the option of passenger service?
The lack of adequate passenger service is an issue of viability for the whole area, because we live in a fantastic part of the province, and we have so much to offer. But I know from personal experience, when I bring people here to talk about setting up businesses here, or talk about moving here, one of the first questions is, well, how about the public transportation? And honestly, you can't really talk about our cohesive public transportation because we really don't have it. And we have had it in the past, and we're not asking for equal service to Southern Ontario. They have their own problems, and they should be funded for them. I live there 6 months a year. They should be funded for them. They have huge issues. But we do need equitable service. As an Ontarian, you should have right to adequate public transportation. If you live in North Bay, you live in Timiskaming Shores, or you live in Cochrane, you should be able to go to Toronto. If you need to go to Toronto for medical services, if you don't have a car, you should be able to go. And a lot of people can't go on the bus, or on if you're in Hearst, 3 days a week the bus goes? That just isn't right. And it's not conducive for the people, and it's not conducive to bring business here either.
All right, Mike. Tell me a little bit about your personal thoughts with this. Obviously, you're close to the issue as well. Just how bad is it here in Northern Ontario not having the passenger service?
Since I've been elected, it's been a constant struggle as far as getting to and from either work, play, tourism, travel, hospitals. People have been asking for real passenger services, whether it be rail, whether it be on bus routes. People have been asking for a long time, and when the train was cancelled, it hurt Northern Ontario. When the enhanced bus services never came, it hurt Northern Ontarians. And people are just struggling and are asking why. Why in Northern Ontario can we not have equitable services like everywhere other part of this province does?
How come that voice, in your opinion, hasn't been heard the way you would have liked it to be, to the point where we're still fighting for this, regardless of who's in power? Because it sounds like you're pretty passionate that this is a need and not a luxury.
It is an absolute need, and by continuing on having discussions with those that are in the actual field of passenger rail and bus routes, ONTC has the expertise, the public has the need, and they have the knowledge as far as what is required in order to meet their needs, their day-to-day services. We just need to listen and go into an action.
And just in terms of gaining that support from outside the provincial parliament, city mayors, whatever the case may be, how do you get their voice in collectively to really push this, move this forward?
By bringing those minds together and really identifying what we need in Northern Ontario, by giving them the venue to come and sit down, sitting with the individuals that are in the field to having that discussion, and really challenging ourselves, what do we want here in Northern Ontario, and what is going to meet our needs.
How difficult do you feel it'll be to get other parties on board and the other members of Parliament on board?
Well, the easiest would be if the NDP wins the next election, it'll happen. But I don't know of why anyone in Northern Ontario would not support this. I think the Liberals made a huge mistake cancelling the train. They have never paid attention actually to how Northern Ontario works, and we don't really know what the Tories are going to do, but we're hoping that if we're elected, it will come back.
2 more questions. This one, do you feel that you're making any way with this in terms of, this has been a battle for years. Do you feel that the situation is getting any better, that the understanding, especially with your members of Parliament in Southern Ontario, that they're understanding the need for this one?
I think I'm constantly surprised with this issue because since I've been an MPP, since 2011, often you'll have an issue cutting the train hit us in the heart. But often you'll have issues like that that will slowly simmer away. And this one has never simmered away. It's actually gaining momentum with All Aboard Northern Ontario and other groups, and it's gaining momentum. And I think that's testament to the need for passenger rail.
Any idea or estimation of how much money this that we're losing out on with the lack of the passenger service here, or is that even a concern?
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to put a number on it, but I know from personal experience that we have had companies come here and look, and on the checklist, that's one they couldn't check off. We have had people move away from this area because unless you drive, you can't really leave here, and that's not right in this day and age.
Anything else you want to add on that?
Yeah, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and in our case, it is the train, and that's what we want.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, John.